Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Dawn, and I am going to do a sketchbook challenge today. I am in Erin Jacobson's first downline, and she challenges her team to do a sketch from the Make It From Your Heart Volume 6 every month. And this month, they are on sketch number 11. So I'm going to participate this month. And this is the sketch from the sketchbook, and I've used it a few times, so I'll post some other examples on my Facebook page. But let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to use this sketch and bring in some papers here. So I have Stampin' Up! Country Woods collection here, and then the mix-ins that are currently available from Close to My Heart through Stampin' Up! And the Close to My Heart Lake Life collection. Okay, so the photos that I'm going to scrapbook are of a day trip down to Garden of the Gods. My aunt and my cousin's son visited us for a couple days last week, and we took them down to Garden of the Gods for a little hike because it was kind of a cloudy day, and originally we were going to go to the top of Pikes Peak, but it looked like it might be snowing up there, so we changed our plan. So it worked out well. We had a good hike. So I'm going to use these pictures, and I'm looking at the country woods, and I kind of like the reddish in this particular wood pattern. So I'm going to use that one. And then I'm going to accent it with this pine pattern paper. And then also this acorn piece from Lake Life. And then I really like this zip strip. It has trees, a border strip of trees. So I think I'll incorporate that. And I want to use a couple of stickers. I'm looking at this fresh air. I might use that. And then I've got day trip and good times. So I'm looking at the same colors, the pine and the acorn. So I might use some of those stickers, thinking about it. And then I also pulled this other sticker sheet. This is from a new collection, and it's called Secret Garden. So I may or may not use that. I'm just looking at stickers that have similar colors. So this is a new color from Close to My Heart, sold through Stampin' Up! It's called Apple Spice. And I like the way that plays off of the red rocks in Garden of the Gods. And acorn is one of the colors that's in Lake Life, but I don't really like the way it plays off of that other pattern piece. So I brought in, this is shortbread. It's the light side of shortbread. I didn't want to use white or vanilla as a base. So yeah, I liked this color. It kind of gave that earthy look to it, and it brightens things up. So that's going to be my base. I'm going to do some treatment to it because you're only going to see the sides and then the center bit. So I'm going to do some stamping on it. I want to make it look kind of like rocks. So this stamp, it's an older stamp from Close to My Heart, and it's called Design Elements. And I kind of like that piece. It sort of looks like rocks, I think. I'm going to make it look like rocks. So yeah, so I wasn't sure which color I wanted to use. And since the middle of this piece of shortbread won't be seen, I'm going to do some test stamping. So I have Apple Spice, and then I also have Cajun Craze. So I'm going to stamp both colors just to kind of look at it and decide, and yeah, figure out which color I want to use around the edges. So I've got that one. I like that. And then I'll do this new color, Apple Spice. And sadly, it's not available. It's sold out, lickety split. It like in 5 minutes, it's sold out. But again, you can use Cajun Craze. So I thought I'd try this, and it's quite a lot darker. And keep in mind, Close to My Heart colors, as they dry, they lighten up. So the end result is quite a bit lighter than that. So I'm just looking at the colors of the papers that I'm going to use, and just see how those colors play off. And I kind of like the darker version, the Apple Spice. So I think I'm going to use that. So I'm going to mat my photos, and can use shortbread, and then it's going to be a double mat with shortbread and this apple spice. And I'm just looking at how they play off each other. So yeah, I like that darker one. So I'm going to stamp a border or repeatedly down each side of this piece of shortbread on both the left panel and the right. So we'll get started and then we'll skip ahead. So I'm just stamping, and then I'll flip that around so that they kind of match up and there aren't any big voids. So I'll flip the stamp around and stamp again. And then I'll flip it around. And this one, it's pretty easy to stamp. You don't have to be precise and you don't have to line them up exactly. It's very forgiving. So I have a piece of scratch paper behind so I can kind of stamp a little bit off the edge. And we'll skip ahead here. So that's the finished version. And now I'm gonna cut some of my paper. So the pattern wants you to use a 9x12 piece, but most of that is going to be covered up. So I don't want to waste my paper. So I'm cutting 1-inch strips. So they're 9x1. And then for the centerpiece, I'm going to cut 2 10x10s. And then this one's a little bit tricky because it is obviously it's got a grain to it, so I'm going to have to use 2 different sheets. So I'm looking at it to see where on that page that I want to be seen and how I want it to be trimmed. So I want my lines to go vertically. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this up. And then because I want vertical lines on both sides, I'm going to have to bring in another piece because the pattern calls for this piece to be turned, but if you do that, then your lines aren't going to be vertical. So I brought in another one, and so both of these have vertical lines. And depending on what pattern piece you choose, or if you just use a piece of cardstock, you could get away with just using 1 piece rather than 2. So be mindful of the patterns on your papers and if they've got a vertical grain or direction. So fortunately, I had 2 pieces and I was able to incorporate this particular color pattern into my design. Okay, so I'm just lining up according to the directions in the Make It From Your Heart book, and off camera I've cut some mats for my pictures. So this one's a 5x7, and then the pattern has like a huge journaling space. And so instead of journaling, I'm going to incorporate I'm going to use 2 4x6 pictures rather than a journaling spot over on that right panel. I don't have a lot of journaling, so yeah, I'd rather put a picture there. So I've created some double mats for those pictures as well. And we'll just go ahead and get these all lined up and figure out the placement of everything. So the one on the left is my cousin and her son, and then the one on the right is my aunt. And they came for a couple days, stopping over on a larger road trip that they're taking around the West. Okay, so this is a new stamp set. It's called Road Trip, and unfortunately, it also sold out really quickly. But I like this little tag stamp, and then this other stamp set. It is Life Scrapbooking, and I believe it's also sold out. But I like Take the Scenic Route, and then in the Grove, I'm going to use that mountain scene that is available. And this one is a new set called Frosted Forest. I'm going to use the dies from it, and then this is a old retired close to my heart die that says family. Okay, I'll make a list of all these supplies in the description below, and I'll put links to what is available. Okay, so I want to use this family die, and I'm not exactly sure, so I'm kind of trying it out before I cut my paper, and I think I like that area. Okay, so this is that zip strip that I was talking about, so I've trimmed it down. And it's going to sit under my picture. And then I've cut another one. and it's going to go on the right panel. So these are the branding zip strips off of the Close My Heart papers. And then I brought in some rose gold shimmer trim. I think that plays nicely off the red and gives a little pop of sparkle. So I've cut a strip and then I've cut it in half. So it's a 1/4 inch. So I've got those bordering the zip strip. And this is a little unexpected. I was looking for a pattern paper to cut the word family from, and I found it in the Take to the Sky DSP collection. This one is Cajun Craze, and I like that plaid, so I'm going to use that. And then I've cut 2 more in white so that I can stack them for a little dimension. Okay, so I do want to do a little treatment to this family die cut because it wasn't quite dark enough. So I'm going to bring in my Altenew sticky mat and do a little ink blending with apple spice and a blending brush over the word family. So I'm adding some color to the whole entire die cut just to make it darker so that it will pop against the background colors. So just carefully swirling some color, and again, keep in mind that Close My Heart colors do brighten and lighten as they dry. So I've stacked this off camera and glued those 3 layers together, the 2 of the white and the 1 of the pattern paper, and it's good to go. So I think I like it down in that area on the lower left portion of the right panel. Okay, so I have off camera die cut some of these trees from the light side of pine and the regular side of pine. So I have a whole bunch here of the big and the little to choose from. So I'm going to add those to my layout. And then I'm going to bring in a stamp from In the Forest, or In the Grove, sorry. And I'm going to stamp this mountain range. Okay, so we'll set it up in my Misty here, and I wasn't sure which color I wanted to stamp. I'm stamping on the light side of shortbread, so I'm going to bring in Early Espresso first, and we'll stamp that out and just see what it looks like. And we'll get that inked up and stamped, and there is a coordinating die for this image. And then I'm going to try it in Pecan Pie, and we'll see what that looks like. So any of these leftovers I can, of course, use on a card or another project. So I'll get that stamped out. And I like the lighter color. It's got kind of a reddish tinge to it. So yeah, it kind of goes with the red rocks that are in Garden of the Gods. So I like that. So off camera, I've die cut them. And I think that's where these dies are going to live, right there and there. I like that. And then I'm going to add these tree die cuts around them. So we've got them on the top, and then I've added another one kind of sitting under the Y in family so that I have a visual triangle of these elements. Okay, now we can make some more embellishments and a secondary title. So these tag dies are from Greetings of the Season, and they just became available. They're online only. And I'm going to cut a tag from Take to the Sky, and then I'm going to stamp out my secondary title. Okay, so I have this tag die, and then I also have this, it's kind of a banner tag, and I'm looking at my stickers and deciding, and I think I like the take the scenic route or stamp image rather than that sticker. So I'm going to stamp it out in pine ink on the light side of shortbread, and I'm going to ink it up a few times. It's it has solid areas, so it always helps to be able to stamp it more than once to make sure it's nice and crisp. And it is kind of a grungy look to the font, so I think that's good. All right, and then I'm bringing in a scrap of that acorn pattern paper, and I'm going to stamp that other tag on that. But first, I want to do some treatment to this scenic route image. So I have that rock stamp again and apple spice, and I'm going to do some second generation stamping. So I'm stamping it off on a scratch piece of paper, and then I'm kind of huffing on it to moisten the ink again. So just breathe on it and then take it to your project and stamp down. So I'm going to stamp all over in second gen, and it's a little hard to see on camera here, but it's just a nice subtle effect rather than the plain shortbread color. Okay, so now I'm going to stamp the little tag that's from Road Trip, and it says seek out new adventures. And I'm stamping that in apple spice on that patterned paper. So that has a coordinating die, and then we'll cut out the tag as well. All right, so we're going to bring everything in. That's that tag, and then I have the take it to the sky, and I've also inked that up with apple spice to make it a little darker so it looks the same as the family die cut. And I think I'm going to cluster those like that. And then off camera, I've die cut this banner tag, and I've done a little bit of journaling on it. So that will sit there. Okay, now I've got everything adhered, and I'm looking at my stickers to see if I can use any, and I like this one that says good times. So we'll go ahead and place that there. And then I'm going to try day trip, but it didn't look right to me. So it may or may not. I just decided ultimately to save that and use it on a different project. It was just a little too distracting there with the white background. So I think that's good. All right, so now I have to finish my tags. So I have some of this linen thread. So I'm going to create a couple of bows and glue those to my tag using glue dots. And then I'm going to bring in some dots. These are some acrylic dots from Close to My Heart in pine, and I'm just going to scatter a whole bunch around. And then I saw this little sunburst on the tag image, and I thought I needed to put a little bit of shimmer brush in there. So I pulled Desert Rose and I added a little sparkle. Okay, so I'm going to bring these closer to the camera, and then for still shots of all of these 2 pages, I'm going to put photos on my Facebook page. You can find them over there, and I'll post them on my Instagram account as well, and all of my socials are in the description below. And so you can check out closer looks and still shots in those places, also on Pinterest as well. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. And thanks for watching.